Hi everyone. I really wanted to make this video for two reasons. Firstly, to say just a mammoth thank you to all the people who have sent me healing in the last week. It has been absolutely overwhelming, very heart-opening, very heartfelt. I've felt the healing. Thousands of people have been sending me love. It's really been a tsunami of love. So I just can't thank you enough. It's been very humbling, actually, and I feel very honored as well that you've taken the time. Normally, on an everyday basis, I get around 1,500 messages about astrology before I start my daily schedule, but I've had probably, I think, about 2,000 emails about healing, different modalities, different things I could try, or people saying that they sent me healing or they are sending me healing. And I've really been knocked out. So thank you, thank you, thank you. That's one of the main things I wanted to say in this video. The second reason is to share with you some information that may be very helpful to some of you listening who are in a similar physical condition, because a lot of people have been writing to me saying, what's the natural treatment that you are going to investigate? And that's what I want to share with you. Just to say, I don't have a medical background. I'm not selling anything or anyone. I'm not pushing anything. I'm literally just walking you through what has been my personal experience recently. And so let's start. As many of you know, I tore my meniscus very severely back in March cycling. And so since March, there've been extended periods of severe pain. I had an arthroscopy in July, but progressively the pain just became worse and worse and worse. And really, a couple of weeks ago, I just couldn't walk. I was walking on two sticks around the house. It was extremely painful, very hard to sleep. And I just couldn't walk. And for such an active person, it was really pretty debilitating because the rest of me is in great shape. I'm very, very well. It's just this very dominating condition. So I assume that because from the original MRI scan, I knew that I had bone on bone grade 4. It only goes up to grade 5, so grade 4 is pretty severe. I had bone on bone arthritis, and therefore I thought the only real solution was a full knee replacement. So I went to see my original surgeon about 10 days ago to say, tell me about the options. Are there any others? And he said, actually, there is one other option. And he told me about a particular injection, which I'm going to describe to you in a moment, that is entirely natural. And I think it's very exciting. But before we get to that, I just want to tell you about a second meeting I had with the professor of surgery the following Monday, because I thought if I have to have this big surgery done, it's major surgery, I'd rather be 12 miles away from home as opposed to 30 miles away from home where the original surgeon was. So I saw the professor of surgery on Monday. We were both looking at my MRI scan. And he said, I think he would have used a ruder word if he could, but he said, your knee is basically shot. Structurally, it's shot. There's no cartilage, no brake pads. You have a crack that is becoming a crevasse. That's the word he used, pretty dramatic. The ligaments have gone at the side, which is why the knee is caving inwards. You have bone-on-bone edema, which is why the pain is so severe. He said, I'm amazed you could walk in here today. And I said, well, a bit of a test. So he said the only solution is full knee replacement, which is a big operation. And he said there would be 6 to 9 months recovery from that. And I asked him about this particular injection I'd heard about, and he said, you are waving a feather at a collapsing bridge. You're waving a feather at a collapsing bridge. And at that moment, I thought, this is a real initiation. It's an initiation for me physically, and it's a real test of walking my talk. If I truly believe that consciousness affects matter and that we need to trust the invisible, which is what I so often say, I've got to really go with this different route. So what the injection is, which I then had 3 days later with the original surgeon, is he takes a sample of your blood. He spins it in a centrifugal machine for 7 minutes, which separates out the red blood cells from the plasma, which is a clear colored honey liquid. And he re-injects your own blood plasma into your knee. All of this takes 10 minutes. And he then told me to wait for 6 weeks. He said, you won't know for 6 weeks, even at 5 weeks, even at 5.5 weeks, you're not going to know. You've got to wait the full 6 weeks. And he said in 70% of people, so it isn't that we're looking at a 70% improvement potentially. He said in 70% of people, there is a significant and sometimes even miraculous improvement. He told me about 2 of his patients. One was a 74-year-old man who'd gone off to trekking to Everest Base Camp after this injection, which is no mean feat, I have to say, having trekked a lot in the Himalayas. Another lady of 80 had gone off skiing. So when it works, it can work extremely well, but it doesn't work in 30% of people. It's not a permanent cure because it will last a year or 2, and then the pain will start to come back, and then you can have another injection. But if you can delay surgery for several years, who knows where surgery is going to be by then? I mean, the Lemurians were healing people in light temples. The ancient Egyptians were doing brain surgery on people. Who knows where we're going to be with light and sound and all kinds of new technologies coming in. So, but you have to wait 6 weeks to know. And I said, well, what clinical data do you have on this? What regeneration is taking place? And he said, well, we don't have enough data. We've only been using this process for 2 years, but we are simply measuring the pain relief, the pain reduction. So, but what was fascinating was the night before I'd gone to a presentation on holistic dentistry, because I could drive and then kind of hobble in with 2 sticks. And as part of that presentation, this dentist was saying he is using exactly this process of using people's own blood plasma to regenerate jawbone. So where people have bone loss through infections or osteoporosis or whatever, he's using this process, taking a blood sample, spinning it in the machine for 7 minutes, re-injecting the blood plasma with huge success, because he is then measuring the regeneration of the bone in X-rays. So this is very exciting, I think. I asked the original surgeon, does this work for hips? And he said, sadly not, because they can't get the exactly precise point that they need that they can with the knee. They can see exactly where to put it in the joint with a very small needle. By the way, the whole thing is entirely painless. The biggest pain was walking from the car park to the orthopedic department, which stunningly is at the far end of the building for people who can't walk. Anyway, so they can't do it for hips because you have to have a general anesthetic, and there's still no guarantee that they get the right place in the hip. So sadly, it only seems to be working for knees for 70% of the people. So this process is called PRP, platelet-rich plasma. So I'll write that below this video so you can go and do your own research on that. I think the practitioners all over the world now that are offering this, I don't think they have to be as fully qualified as a surgeon, because the process is very straightforward. But please go and do your own research on this. And so I'd been to this dental presentation, and then at 2 o'clock in the morning, just a few hours before I had this injection, I started to get this download about the dwarf planet Haumea. And some of you may remember I've talked about the dwarf planet Haumea before, who is linked to the Hawaiian goddess of fertility. In myth, she was able to birth babies from all over her body. She could transform herself from an old crone to a young maiden, which I'm looking forward to. And when I talk about these dwarf planets, you may think, gosh, that's so abstract. What relevance does that have for my life? Well, I was in the thick of it at this point, because I suddenly realized in this download that Haumea had moved into the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign of medicine. Think of the sting in the tail. This is about incision, it's about surgery, it's about piercing, etc. Very linked to medicine and diagnosis, etc. It is going to stay in Scorpio for about 25 years. This is regenerative medicine. Haumea and Scorpio, and maybe other astrologers have had this insight. I don't know, but certainly it's the first time I had it. Homea in Scorpio, one of the big things it's representing is regenerative medicine. This is the medicine of the future, which is what I'm experiencing. So 1 week ago today, from filming this right now, I had the injection. The improvement in my knee has been dramatic, and it's not the injection, because that's going to take 6 weeks before I notice any difference. This is your healing. This is your healing. From, a week ago, when I had to use sticks to move around the house, I was in so much pain. I can move around the house without any pain. Yesterday and today, each day I did a 1-hour walk. Yes, slowly, yep, with a stick, but I did it. I haven't been able to do that for weeks. The reduction in pain is dramatic. And I was with a good friend today who's an excellent dowser, and she dowsed and found that the grade 4 arthritis in my knee has already reduced to a grade 3 in a week with your healing. I mean, boy, am I so grateful and so knocked out by the amount of love. Love heals all. So I just really wanted to share that with you. It has been an initiation. Trust to the invisible, trust to the divine. And I hope what I'm sharing with you will help some of you out there who've got the same condition. Because, as I say, so many people have been writing to me saying, well, what's the natural treatment that you're investigating? I am taking other supplements. I am using other technologies, but I wanted to keep this really, really simple, just focused on that injection, which I think is an extraordinary move towards regenerative medicine. And that's really exciting. So, God bless you. Please keep the healing coming. I'm not in any perfect state yet, but boy, really, really big steps forward, literally from where I was a week ago. It's just been extraordinary. So God bless. A million thanks to you all. And I'll be back with some astrology in the next video. Thanks again. God bless you. Bye for now.